wouldn't let me it wouldn't let me throw you on stream while I was doing the countdown. I was trying to see if I can do it.
I would have immediately ended the stream, left and like leave my account and everything like that.
I don't know who's watching. I see Digital Gnosis is in the chat a second ago. If y'all want to come in, just let me know.
Yeah, Nathan, we haven't talked in a while. It's probably pretty late for him, but maybe he's just.
He doesn't ever sleep. I think I discovered that. Let's just do this. Let's be bold. Let's just throw it in the chat.
Yeah, for anyone that was curious, like while the music was playing, I was just sort of like dancing in my little box in the bottom corner. I wasn't even sure if JB you would have been able to see me or not. But
yeah, I could see you.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't do these very often, but I mean, I happen to have a Friday free, so I was like, hey, let's see if we can, get some people to come in. And John Buck is living the streamer life. I mean, you're down to where you're eating on stream. I mean, that's like perfect, like Twitch level right there, isn't it?
There's some cold leftovers here in a big old bowl. I'll put it aside.
I just had leftovers for dinner myself.
Yeah, it's pretty tasty.
Anything going wrong?
So, anything new with you, JB?
Nothing much. So I'm not sure what the last thing you caught on the channel was. I had RC Reed on. Reed. We had a talk. I think that one was titled "Gin and Truth and Buddy" because he's got a Gin and Truth podcast now that he's been doing.
Oh, yeah.
Buddy's his little dog that he rescued and found that was sitting outside of his house one day. It's taking over the atheist Twitter sphere.
What type of dog is it?
I don't even know. I'm not sure.
Okay.
And then I had Reese Baker on, and we had a discussion on abortion, which was actually pretty interesting because I know he caused a big stir right after the Roe v. Wade situation came down, and was actually arguing with a bunch of Christians about it. And so him and I had a discussion about that, and with him actually having a background in biology, it was kind of interesting because we dabbled into some of the actual science stuff on it too. So.
Yeah, is he from the UK?
Yeah, he's from the UK. Wait, he's from the UK. He's not from England. I think that's how it was explained to me. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how it works.
All right. What? Okay. Can you link your YouTube channel in the chat because I cannot find it, even though I'm like subscribed to you and I'm like searching for it in YouTube.
You're killing me, John.
I mean, I want to share the link. I want people to watch, but I can't if I don't know what the link is.
I know. I need to come up with a better name for the channel so that we can find it easier. Mm-hmm. And I don't like anything that I come up with.
Hold on. I'm hearing like this buzzing. Give me 1 second. I gotta figure out what's going on here. I don't know. I'm in an apartment complex and there's always noises and people and stuff like that. No idea what's going on, but you just sort of tend to ignore it.
Okay, this is annoying me.
You can't find it either?
No, I found it, but it's not letting me copy it because it's not letting me copy it in the chat. Yeah. Give me a second.
Talks.
This just to let you know that I need a new channel name.
I know, yeah.
So if anybody has one.
Didn't you like run a poll already on Twitter?
I don't know. I run polls all the time on Twitter. Have you not noticed that before? Okay. Hold on, I'm getting it.
even when oh, there we go. Talk with JB. Okay, so talk with is one word.
Yeah.
Space JB, all caps.
Yeah.
It's like the 10th one down. Okay, I found it.
All right, you got it. Put it on Twitter too. Tell all your Catholic buddies like Cameron Bertuzzi
Yeah,
to
yeah. Let me just
stop
DM
by.
Cameron real quick. Let him know that, hey, you want to hop in?
Did you I tagged you in the one earlier. Did you see all the people that I tagged in it? Do you ever look at the people that I tag and stuff?
What were you tagging? Oh,
I
maybe.
always hold on, pull it up. I always have fun with I always have fun with my tags. So I said, so I'm probably hosting a stream tonight around 7 Eastern. Let me know if you're interested. Open
Oh,
hangout, no topic. I tagged
yeah.
Skylar Fiction, Dr. Josh, Digital Gnosis, Counter Apologist, Jared Frank, the Pope, uh, the President of the United States, then Amateur Exegete.
Yeah, yeah, I did see that. I noticed that somebody wasn't tagged in that. The only person that
You
was
were.
actually engaging with your tweet was not
Yeah,
the
you
person.
were.
The only person that actually put in the work, showed up on time.
You were the only one that actually showed up.
Exactly. I'm your only friend, and this is how you treat me. No. All right.
I even how's old Craig Reed doing? You talking to him anymore?
I haven't talked with him in a while. I'm like avoiding him because I told him that I was going to set up a conversation with him and Bread of Life and SJ, and I still haven't done that yet. So I'm guessing he's watching this back. So yes, I know, Craig. I need to do that. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I've been busy-ish, even though that's not a good enough excuse. So again, sorry. Mea culpa.
So yeah, you've picked up quite the little handful here lately. You've picked up Cameron Bertuzzi, you've picked up S.J. Thompson, you've
Yeah, that's true.
kind of
The
picked up some stuff.
hitters of Protestant apologetics. Yeah. No, who's the other one? There's another. Well, let's see. So, Christian idealism. He's another recent convert. Yeah, SJ
Who's
Cameron.
Christian idealism? That name sounds familiar.
Uh,
Is that the one that had the William Lane Craig controversy?
yeah. He was the one that actually emailed Craig about it, and then that blew up in atheist Twitter. Yeah.
Yeah. Got him featured on the Apologia show.
Hey, thanks. Yeah. I feel like so weird because I like never wear a turtleneck at all, and I look very pompous right now. But I don't know, it kind of looks good. This is not my usual look. Sorry, guys. Where's my Hawaiian shirts? It's too cold here.
So you've got Christian idealism, SJ, and Cameron. Now I don't know if you saw it, but I actually put a thing on Twitter. I think last night to you or whatever. Cameron, for the last 6 months to a year, somewhere in that neighborhood, has done a really big thing of running syllogisms to counter Catholicism. So I would really love to see like how he looks at those syllogisms now.
That would be fun. Yeah, because I remember, yeah, he had like he would always do some posts on like Twitter, like I think he said, I think this is like the strongest argument against Catholicism, and it was like, if Catholicism is true, then divine simplicity is true. Divine simplicity is false. Therefore, Catholicism is false. And so, yeah, he's probably done a couple others besides that one as well. But yeah, I think as of late, so I listened to his conversation with Matt Fradd today. Yeah, he got flown to Rome and like got to see like St. Peter's Cathedral and got to visit with everybody there. So that's awesome. But no, he talks though about how divine simplicity, this sort of Catholic doctrine, was something. There he is, Nathan.
I'm in bed.
You're live.
What
I
is
am
it, like
alive,
3
but I'm
a.m.
in
over
bed.
there?
Right.
Is it like
That's
3
what I was
a.m. over there, Nathan?
That's why I was telling JB, you got to be careful about just sharing the link anywhere because you'll get people on.
You don't know who's going to turn up. It's midnight midnight for me, so
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's not that bad.
no, not that bad. But yeah, I will be going to bed soon.
Cheers,
I was
Nate.
like,
It's been a while since we've talked.
I tagged you because I saw you had shared something on Twitter, and I was like, he just put that out a
Yeah,
minute ago. I was like, I was pretty sure he was in bed.
I like your name, Analog Gnosis. Oh boy.
yeah.
Return to
He's too
your
fancy.
It's what happens after 10 p.m. I go back to analog.
Is that the British
Yes.
spelling? Because like in America, we spell analog without the UE at the end. You know, shaving off.
Yeah, I guess it's probably like color and things like that, right? Where we have
Yeah, we spell it the right way.
Yeah, Occam's razor and all that. We gotta
the
shave
freeway.
Whichever one uses the fewest letters is the one that's correct.
We win. The fewest letters in our language means that we have the better ontology. So
I just saw the video of Cameron doing his first Hail Mary, and I've got to say, it was like it to me. It was like watching a Monty Python sketch or something. Just like how forced it seemed, how uncomfortable. Like he looked visibly uncomfortable.
yeah.
The priest guy going up and like laying his hands on Cameron's head as well was just like adding to the discomfort of the whole thing. And yeah, from my point of view, it was kind of like if I was to make something that was like mocking the whole thing, I couldn't have done a better job than like that video actually was.
Yeah, it's always awkward. Like anytime somebody's like praying and then you're like watching a video of that, or even in real life, yeah, praying and like laying on of hands and stuff like that can be really awkward and like it's so weird. And then
well, I think because it's also it's like a clear public. So Matt Fradd asking him to do that is like a clear public renouncement of his Protestant ways to like pray to Mary directly and do this like different ritual and stuff, you know. And so I think that was
he really is Catholic. Look, he's praying to
yeah,
Mary.
yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
Is it so? I think I'd heard his wife didn't convert to Catholicism with him.
No, I don't think so.
At least, yeah, not right now. I don't think she's at all interested. I mean, she might be like, I don't know. I'm sure she's supportive, but at least as far as I'm aware, I don't know if she's also converting.
I think there could potentially be some difficulties there because I don't know if she is on board with the theology or whatever, but it depends on, you know, like their relationship dynamics and how like, you know, like how combative they are about like theological differences, whatever.
Yeah, I do know that they used to go to her father's church, but they ended up not going to there anymore. So that probably already raises some sort of tensions between the family.
Right.
So this might just sort of add more to it, which is always, I don't know, rough.
Well, I mean, I just like to throw it out there that I have a marriage with a Christian, so I mean, I understand how they can be.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. Are you engaged right now, Nathan?
Oh, I'm not engaged at the minute, no. But but when I get married, I think I will be doing it as a Catholic. But just for the marriage part, like not for the religion part.
I mean, hey, if you're gonna get married, gotta go big or go home. That's that's where you.
Are you going to invite Cameron Bertuzzi?
No, it'll be in like a Spanish cathedral, I think. So.
Oh yeah. Oh, beautiful. Yeah, that would be great.
That used to be a mosque as well, you know, when the Moors. So, yeah.
This had a few sort of transitions there.
Yeah.
Oh, there's Ethan in the chat. Ethan, get on here.
Yeah, he said he's tired. He's had a long week.
He's always. When's he not had a long week? When's the last time he had a short week?
He never does a short week.
Making the sacrifice, streaming from bed.
Exactly.
At almost 1 o'clock in the morning. He said he's lazy.
Lazy. That's universalism for you.
Yeah, what does it matter anyway? God will sort it out.
I don't need to I don't need to spread the good news to Nathan. He's already going to heaven. Yeah. Well. See, I'm over here putting in the work. The only real Christian. Yeah.
Are there Universalist Catholics?
Yeah, there are. Yeah.
Bishop Barron.
Yeah, it seems like Bishop Barron is very close to pretty much universalism. Also, yeah, Balthasar, who's a pretty prominent Catholic theologian. Yeah, a few more in the sort of progressive side of Catholicism for sure. Those near heretics. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting actually, John. Something I haven't asked you before is what what are your views about the papacy? Do you think you accept Francis, right? You don't yeah.
Yeah.
But what about Ratzinger? What do you think about the like what do you think about him kind of like stepping down or still being in a position to have influence and stuff? Do you have like views about that? Or are you just kind of like I don't care? Like
I'm only partially familiar. I do know that there are some Catholics that think that Ratzinger, I guess, is like still Pope, even though he's like publicly like sort of announced being the Pope. But like he didn't do it like explicitly enough, I guess, for some people. But I don't know. I think that like I don't know, it just works its way into like conspiracy theory land. Like, oh yeah, even though he said that he's no longer going to consider himself the Pope, he's still wearing white. So that tells us that
right.
he really thinks that he's the Pope. And so I don't know, it just kind of it gets pretty out there in order to sort of hold to that view.
So yeah, pretty like standard views. You're not in like any of the conspiracy camps or anything.
No, I like to keep my conspiracies fully separate from my religious faith. So like, aliens, panpsychism.
Have you seen the Graham Hancock ancient megaliths or whatever it's called Netflix series?
Oh no.
So I don't
to
know if you're familiar with any of his stuff. Like he's been on Joe Rogan's podcast over the years. So, and basically this Netflix series is a documentary series going to these sites and looking at like the alleged evidences. But every single episode is like the same thing. It's like the standard story from archaeologists is da 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 da. But they're just not willing to look at the evidence, and then he'll like show a bunch of stuff, make a bunch of claims about the dates and things, and then he'll say, "No, I'm just asking the question. How did these ancient people get the technology to build, or how did these giants come cross the sea to come to this place that like never presents the like standard mainstream view or compared? It's always but it's pretty fun if you're into like ancient aliens and stuff, I guess.
I have to check that out. Yeah. Some of the like conspiracy theories around the pyramids. Like I don't know how the pyramids were built, but it is I don't know.
Jewish slaves.
Yeah, maybe. I guess that could work, but it seems like they've got like this perfect sort of symmetry to them and everything like that. Like, man, these Egyptians really knew how to build a pyramid, I guess. But it's pretty well.
I think it can just be fun to think about sometimes. Like the reason I like watching it is because like it's kind of cool to look at all these like pictures, I suppose, at the same time as there's like this weird story about the past and like giant, like big flood myths and ancient. So it's just kind of like a creative story or something, I guess. And I like that.
Yeah, especially because there's some like theories about how like ancient Rome and like the ancient Egyptians were like much more technologically advanced than even we are today, and so it's like, that's a fun sort of way to think about things, and especially because like all of that is pretty much like destroyed through history. It's like,
well, that's kind of how he gets into. So the direction he goes in after he's kind of established his conspiracy about like the age of these things that deviates from the contemporary archaeologists who just won't even consider this, apparently. Though I'm sure if he actually interviewed any of them, they'd have plenty to say about why they reject his view. But the direction that he goes in is that these were like loads of these sites kind of like embedding a story about cataclysmic events that ended the human race, but also that they're like survival chambers and things like that, like places people could go. And then he starts to claim that we're in like one of these ages that they talk about, these like cycles. So this is like the end age, and that's what climate change is. So he links it all into that, and he's like, and so because we've forgotten the wisdom of the past, so we won't hide in the pyramid tomb when climate change comes to kill us all or whatever.
See, that's the mark of a good conspiracy theory, the ability to sort of work in all these different areas and tie them together to get all the connections needed and present that sort of call to action, like, here, go after these people. That's a good conspiracy theory. So
yeah, it's fun.
So what's been going on your channel lately, Nathan?
Yeah.
Not much, to be honest. I mean, I just did a stream before I came to bed. I did a video making fun of Matt Walsh's "What Is a Woman," where a guy with a Knight Templar profile picture commented saying I should be exterminated because of my views.
Wow.
And lots of pleasant religious people have been saying, basically because of that I'm like some lefty liberal, like
Cuck, beta, soy boy.
yeah, all of these things. I've been playing around with these shorts though from like TikTok videos, and they're kind of all right. To be honest though, I don't really know what I'm doing with the channel anymore. I think I've been thinking about more like moving over to my like personal account and using that to make short like math, data structure and algorithm videos and things, like, because then that can help to structure my learning in a way, because I can use that to present content that I'm like learning, and then it forces me to like revisit it or explain it in a clear way, and that could be useful to people. But I don't know, I'm kind of like bored with philosophy and stuff at the minute.
Yeah,
Yeah.
weren't you going to school for like philosophy?
Yeah, I did a master's degree in it, and then
I was like, he's studying philosophy. Then you just put a thing on Twitter. You were like, I'm done with philosophy. I never want to talk about this stuff again. And I was like, okay.
I mean, I'm sure, like, I mean, I think it can be useful, and there's interesting parts and there's stuff I want to learn, right? But I think that it can be all-consuming in a completely unproductive way, which is like a bad thing, when it gets like that. Because for a lot of these things, there just aren't like there's sort of like clarifying maybe errors in thinking or making distinctions and things like that. But a lot of the things in philosophy are just either not questions in the first place, or just so deeply confused or based off of like value differences and things that there isn't really a way of resolving them. And people just get enmeshed in kind of like these endless dialectical sort of like paths, right? Of learning like dialogue trees, basically, and then figuring out like, oh, here's a new way to navigate the dialogue tree, and here's something that can be said. I mean, for a lot of people, that's fun for a while, but I think and it's not just that, but that's like a lot of it, and that I'm kind of exhausted with that, and I just want to do something a bit more like practical and like, you know.
I hear you. Yeah. Yeah, that is interesting to think about how like a lot of the sort of debates that sort of take place in philosophy do sort of follow this sort of like almost flow chart of like, okay, you're taking this path, that means let's go into this argument. And it's kind of weird, like when you like watch or listen to a sort of conversation between people that are very high up, they almost like skip to the very next part, and it's just a sort of like further branching out of this conversation that's sort of taking place.
Right.
But it's hard to like really see any sort of resolution. Not
But
even
I think
the fact that it doesn't occur, but also the fact that like it's hard to see how it could even occur between people, which is sad. But
yeah, no, I definitely see that too. And so, and I think you can see this as well if you watch people who are like sort of like learning or trying to establish themselves as like authorities or philosophers, whatever. I mean, you'll notice, for example, one of the main things to do is to like, you know, read the SCP articles, read all this like intro to meta ethics book, intro to this thing book, whatever, to learn all the correct distinctions, so you have the map of the dialogue tree, you know. So and then what you're able to do is basically produce different argument forms that navigate your way around the dialogue tree. And if you have one, and the way it works is that if you can get a few more things to say than what someone else can produce in a conversation, well, then you look very smart, feel very validated. People, and I don't know, like, I mean, there are intelligent people doing this. It's not, but it's just like, why? Like, is that the best use of my time? I don't know.
Spartan said he's starting to write a children's book, which I find pretty interesting.
oh, that's
That's
cool.
cool. He could come on and talk about it if he wasn't such a pussy.
Is it Johnny the Walrus 2? This time, Johnny Driven.
I used to have. There was one like with like a dog, and the stomach was like a circle cut out, and there was a bit of felt, and it was called like "Tickle My Tummy" or something. That was a good kids book with the
yeah.
tactile.
Yeah. Probably. Let's see. I really liked the Curious George books when I was a kid. Oh, that funny monkey. What's the topic of your kids' book, Ethan? I'm curious now. Or I guess I have in my mind like a sort of picture book that you would read to like 3 or 4 year olds.
Yeah, right.
Maybe it's like a children's
Yeah,
series.
Harry Potter.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I can take him serious about it, though. That's the thing. Oh, look at this. We have somebody joining us from the depths of purgatory.
Ooh, there he is.
I had the stream open. Hold on. But
Give me a thumbs up when you're ready to go.
hello.
Are you good now?
Yeah, I'm good.
Hey.
Hey, Ethan.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
I kind of feel bad now. Now seeing the bags under your eyes.
Yeah. It's fine. I was just sitting on my computer anyway, but
I put it out there. I was like doing a stream. He was like, "I'm too tired, but I'll annoy you from the chat." And I was like, "You might as well hop on at that point. It's easier."
yeah,
to
my
talk to you."
mother-in-law was with us all last week and like half of this week.
Oh, that'll do it.
Yeah, which
Do
was
you,
all right, but it's just kind of draining.
Yeah.
So not to put too much out there, is Trish from over here?
Where? The South or?
Yeah.
No, she grew up outside of Houston.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so her mom flew from there.
I don't know how. I didn't know how much you wanted to put out there. But.
It's fine, yeah. I mean, there's like thousands of people watching your stream, right?
Yeah. Yeah. This is the largest YouTube. PewDiePie wishes he had my numbers.
Yeah.
I'm about to do Mr. Beast style giveaways.
Well, there you go. I mean, you should. I got a good chance of winning, seeing how there's only like 5 people
You
watching.
should get some apologetics book.
You know what though? I've thought about it, and I'm not sure that I like. I think it'd be cool to have a big channel because you get the interaction in the chat, like which is the thing that I go for when I do like the live streams and stuff. But like, I just do the stuff that I want to do and have the conversations I want to have with the people that I want to have it. And I'm like, and even like y'all disagreeing with me on pretty much everything. Like I'd have people come in and I have fun conversations and ask questions and just let the conversation go where it goes.
Yeah, audience capture is a real thing, and it can be pretty messed up. Like it can drive people into positions like trying to pander to their audience, or it can mess with your psychology, like having feedback from people that goes in certain directions. One thing I've noticed is like I have a tendency on my own videos to look at comments and things, right? And you can get so many messed up comments from people that it can really it can make you angry and combative, but then you carry that around with you if you're getting like a load of messed up comments from people. And you gotta be careful with. It's good to like be able to distance yourself from all that stuff.
Yeah, and also
the only
it's
comments
easy.
I get is
ahead.
John just telling me that he disagrees with me.
Asking, how do I find your YouTube channel?
Yeah, I gotta come up with a better branding name and stuff for my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Tie that down. But.
What were you gonna say, Ethan?
Oh, I was just gonna say, like it's like it's a very loud minority or whatever that leave these bad comments. So it's definitely easy to like just see the whole audience as these loud, annoying people or whatever. But most people just watch and enjoy the stuff and don't leave a comment.
Well, I think it's the way that people. So if you say something that people disagree with, and like that video attracts like a bit of attention, well, then for all the people who disagree with you about that issue, it's not about you, right? It's about like how strongly they're married to the position that you disagreed with, what that means to them, and so you just get all sorts of stuff from random people's lives and where they're at that they like project onto you in like hurtful comments. It's not really about you, but it can be so easy to get like, if you get like 5 or 6 of them, it can start to change, like at least in my case, like change your psychology, and then you take that into the next conversation that you have with someone or something.
The worst thing I ever got as far as comments go was whenever I had Rabbi Singer on my channel to talk about Judaism. And I was like, No, I was like, well, this is a peaceful conversation. This is kind of fun, and but that guy can talk. Like you ask him a
Yeah.
question, he'll talk for like 20 minutes on an answer. So, and I go to the comments or whatever afterwards, and I've got Muslims popping up in my comments, and I'm like, great. Now this video is gonna run like a whole like counter Muslim thing or whatever. But I only had like one guy that left like 3 comments, and I was like, okay, cool, it stayed there. We're good with that.
I've gotten some pretty mean comments about me when I've been on other people's channels, but I don't really care. People are crazy.
John Buck used to run Craig Reed's channel behind the scenes for like a good
Oh, that
2
was
years.
I used to love the interactions between John and Craig when like Craig wouldn't know what the hell was going on, and John was like his chaperone, like just look into the camera, Craig. We're live.
And John would always be in
What's
the
going on,
background, would like pop up.
He'll like randomly like leave the stream because his like webcam on, and then I have to like hurry up and like let me ask this person these questions now, and then I'll be like, what I miss?
Craig's such like chaotic energy, like
He's great.
So what's going on over at the Apocalypse Now? Apocalypse Here.
We've
Apocalypse
been
Here
doing our
channel.
like little podcast we do
Here.
once a week. Or
Anymore. Sorry.
we're doing it about once a week. We didn't do one last week or this week, but
Have you talked to John?
yeah, I talked to
saw
him
a
last
thing.
night.
I saw a thing he put on Twitter tonight. Was it tonight? He don't have any power?
It's back on already.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He was like telling me it was supposed to be out for like 4 hours and then came back on in like 5 minutes. Yeah,
How's
he moved and all this stuff, so he's just been busy starting a new job.
they moved again?
Yeah, he did. Laura hasn't moved yet.
Um how's the kids?
Good. Yeah, they're getting bigger and crazier every day.
Yeah, how old are they now?
Like 19 months, a little bit more, so or a little over a year and a half.
Okay. Yeah.
That's a year and a half. You can stop doing the months then.
Yeah,
Once you get,
whatever.
Just like wait, let me.
Yeah.
Let me
Yeah,
do the
they're-
math real quick. I'm like 1,000 months.
Yeah. They're crazy though, that's for sure. They're starting to get like attitudes sometimes, like they don't want to listen and stuff, and testing boundaries. And
this
Just
is
sit
what
down and make them.
Augustine was talking about when he said, baby, terrible sinners.
yeah, definitely, they definitely deserve to go to hell forever.
Make them watch a 10-hour Nathan stream.
There you go.
I don't know how you have the energy for that sometimes, man. I'll
Yeah,
look
I
at
don't
it,
know.
I'm like, that's like 6 hours. I don't know if I could sit through that. You got any more bad apologetics coming up, Nathan?
I mean, we're going to do one on Thomism at some point.
Yeah,
But,
that
like,
got John Buck excited.
I think as well, what we want to take a look at is like the sociological like phenomena of Thomism as it is taken up by like LARPers. So there's a particular kind of like subset of online terminally online, one might say, accounts where they all have the same, like it's some guy with the Dominican haircut and it's like a painting and they all have that picture and they're all like radical views about like women's rights and stuff, and it's all justified in terms of like some verse from the Summa or something, and that's just the way they think about all that. I think we want to comment on that sort of like phenomena and what type of person that appeals to and why, as much as we want to look at the different scholastic sort of distinctions and ways of thinking that all sort of relies upon as well. And we're going to try and do that with Joe Schmidt, I think, too.
Yeah, because his book should be coming out soon, I think, right? Where he's responding to Ed Fazer and his arguments for God.
The one on is that the one he's got with Dan Linford?
Yeah. I'm not sure actually when it comes out, but I saw like it's coming out soon, and I definitely want to get it.
Yeah, I don't know when it's coming out either, but I think that the manuscript has been sent off for that in like a final form. to the publisher.
If it's on Audible, I'll look into it.
I don't know that it's the type of thing you'd want to listen to, because I've listened to philosophy audiobooks before, right? And you get like S is some P at time T0, and it's like, what the fuck am I listening to?
Yeah.
Like,
Or you
just
zone
some
out for
gibberish.
like literally 30 seconds and you're just like completely lost. You have no idea.
Yeah.
What
Exactly.
I'm gonna start a little bit. I'm gonna start the gossip train again for a second. What's everybody's thoughts on this Tyler Vela?
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually
Ben?
got to know him like fairly well a few years ago through like Discord stuff. I was pretty surprised to see that or whatever, but then again, I don't know. It is what it is.
Yeah, I listened
Guess
to his announcement the other day. It was kind of funny. Like on the very same day that Cameron came out as being Catholic or becoming Catholic, Tyler Vela released an announcement video saying that he's deconverting from Christianity, and it's really interesting. And I like saw the reasoning that he had to it, but something I hadn't even known beforehand was I guess he had some issues with his marriage that had come up, and but yeah, like his reasoning behind like deconverting made a lot of sense, especially like assuming sort of the Christian worldview and a lot of the things said within Christianity. There it seems like there is supposed to like this expectation for a relationship with God and Jesus that for a lot of people is not there, and so that gives them reason to think, oh, this Christian picture of the world must be false. And so I can see definitely his sort of like way out of Christianity. Apparently he's still a theist at least, but at least thank God. But,
Yeah, he said he was like a philosophical theist or something like that. Just like
Yeah, I think it's quite heavily tied into this like personal stuff that's happened, right? And so it's difficult to kind of speculate about the exact reasons and ins and outs. So I think something to do with, he said, in infidelity and like praying about that. And I can see how that sort of stuff, obviously, when it's that personal, is going to like rock people's confidence in things. Though I like listening to it, I honestly don't know how like confident I should be either way that like, oh, clearly he's moving in this direction or that direction, because it seems to me like something that's just rocked him emotionally, and like I don't actually know if when the dust settles, he's gonna like actually just fall back into Christianity and be like, that was a weird time, or if actually like or maybe the fact that he's publicly saying like, I'm doubting this, I mean, that's a factor, right, as well, because people treat him differently on the in-group. Maybe that makes the chips fall differently and stuff. So I don't know.
It seemed like from at least the way they was talking about it, it seemed like he had already sort of made his decision for a while, and it was pretty sort of like confident in like where he's at right now. So I don't know. I'm not seeing like or not expecting any sort of like reconversion back anytime soon. It seems like he's like considered this from a lot of different ways, and like had given time for emotions to sort of settle, and he's still sort of not a Christian.
So we get half a Tyler, you get Cameron and SJ.
Yeah, there we go.
SJ, I forgot about her conversion. Of course. Yeah.
No comment.
I mean, she's something else.
I keep screenshotting SJ tweets and just sending them to Ethan. I'm like, here, buddy, have fun.
I blocked her on Twitter just so I didn't have to see it anymore. It just frustrated me.
I find it bizarre that she's like a real human. Like,
but you've had multiple conversations with her.
Well, yeah, I know, but it's like it's never like I'm talking to a person, like there's something strange. It's like yeah, but there's like it's like I don't know how to say it. Like the lights are on, but nobody's home. So it's like nothing I'm saying is going in, but she's just like smiling and yeah, and then it'll be like, well, did you hear about? And then some like it's always the same random story of like people who were lost at sea and then they got prayed for. They prayed and then a boat found them or something. And I'd be like, wait, hang on, like, did you listen to anything I just said? Or like, I don't know.
The craziest. I clipped it and put it on Twitter the other day with her and Skylar arguing back and forth because she had made the comment that they didn't kill Canaanite children; they just relocated them.
Oh yeah,
to
the
heaven.
relocated. That was a good one. Yeah. Top tier SJ meme. Yeah.
But I did that. I did that with John one day because we were on Twitter and he said something about anybody that kills like 1,000 people is considered a mass murderer or something like that. And I was like, "Well, congratulations, your God is a mass murderer every day."
No, no,
And
no, no.
he's like, "I saw that one coming." I was like, "You just walked right into it."
God's ways are greater than man's ways. Okay, that's all I need.
I think it was one of Nathan's questions or something like, "Would you flip a switch if it would kill somebody random that you didn't know or something like that on the other side of the world?"
I think something I thought was like if you could give someone a lobotomy, but it would like make them believe in Jesus or like whatever the belief component is for Christianity, it would make them have that if you gave them a lobotomy. Like, would you do it?
No. But I wouldn't do it in reverse either. I wouldn't do it if it was for atheism.
Thank you.
Right, but you don't have eternal stakes, right, for atheism. So for the in the case of Christianity, it sort of seems like perhaps the ends justify the means in the sense that, I mean, God's going to get everyone, God's going to fix everything anyway, right, in heaven, any like lobotomy or whatever that's done. So maybe actually, if you were genuinely convinced that that would work, maybe you should do that because it would get everyone into heaven or something.
Yeah, but if I'm convinced that Ethan's right, then it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Well, that's true. I agree.
Lobotomy, okay, so that's why. No.
Yeah, you've got to stipulate it like that form of universalism isn't true. And so.
Oh, yeah.
And Ethan will never agree to that.
Yeah, this whole sort of notion within like popular Christianity of like this belief component is, yeah, it's really really awkward, and it like maybe it's just from like being somebody who's sort of moved from one denomination to another, but it does sort of like you start to like see things from a sort of more objective perspective, and it is very weird to say that no, it's because they had this belief that means that they get to go to the good place, and they didn't have that belief, and therefore they don't get to go to the good place or anything like that. It's a very sort of a weird sort of picture of the world, but I don't think it's necessary to Christianity, of course, but I definitely recognize that, yeah, a lot of Christians do sort of like implicitly endorse that sort of view.
So are you an eternal conscious torment person, or are you an annihilationist? Or
no, so I had a conversation on Christian Idealism's channel, and we were going over some views of hell that we find somewhat plausible that seem to be compatible with like the Christian church teaching. And
it was you and Dry Apologist. And
yeah, exactly.
I watched part of it. I couldn't sit through all of it. It was just
fair. Not
there's
everyone.
a lot of scripture and philosophy terms, and I was just like, "This is."
Well, you're gonna have to sit through it forever.
Yeah, exactly. You better get used to it, buddy. No, so
I'm just racking up years of purgatory. That's all I'm doing.
The notion of hell that I find somewhat plausible is the idea that those that reject God sort of like allows them to reject him, but also takes away any of their faculties which lead them further into sin or harm towards themselves or to others. But in doing so, that sort of like lowers their faculties to the point of almost like a quasi person, in a sense, almost like an animal, I guess. And so there's the idea is that they will continue to live forever, but not in the full state of happiness and bliss. And so that's why people should not reject
and
God.
they'll never understand the modal contingency argument then in order to
you'll be deprived of the beatific vision of being able to contemplate the forms of reality.
Sucks.
Yeah.
Just be a universalist.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, universalism certainly does have its draws, and like I don't know, I've recently interacted with, oh gosh, what's his name? I actually went to a Problem of Evil conference, and he was presenting. I want to say Keith
Rattan or whatever.
Yeah,
Eric.
Rattan. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Saitan Bruggencave, is it?
Yes, him too.
No, and he was presenting an argument for universalism that was coming from scripture. Like there's a verse about how in the eschaton there shall be no more tears or anything like that. And it seems like that's a verse that by itself, at least, and just from the way that it's being written, it does seem like, yeah, that's going to entail some sort of like universalism of some sort. And the way that he was sort of motivating that was from the fact that, well, if there were those that were damned, then those in heaven who have like beatified characters should mourn those should mourn those people that were damned. But mourning requires there being tears, and so if there's no more tears in heaven, then there wouldn't be any mourning. So we can sort of draw the conclusion. Then I think I sort of poorly phrased the sort of.
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
That, and so it's a way to sort of either motivate universalism or to motivate the idea that no, there's actually going to be mourning in hell. Oh, sorry, mourning in heaven for those that weren't able to make it. And yeah, I think it's a strong point. And I actually got his book. I want to go through and read his full arguments and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a really interesting view that I want to interact more. So without just sort of like immediately dismissing it, I think there's like legitimate arguments that need to be considered and thought about charitably. So not according to arguments, of course. So I just dismiss those out of hand, but like other people's arguments.
According to SJ, there is no mourning in heaven. You will be happy for those being tortured in hell because God's mercy is being.
I mean, having interacted with Twitter enough, I can sort of like see the motivation to the Thomas Aquinas view. There's a few people that I might be a little bit happy get to.
The gates of hell are locked from the inside.
Swinburne said that Thomas Aquinas is a universalist, which is kind of weird. Yeah.
What?
There is.
I've never heard that at all.
It's in a Closer to Truth interview on Hell that Swinburne says it, and he quotes some part of the Summa, apparently. I've never really fact-checked him on that, but yeah.
Well, I do know there is this section, like on a lark, I was reading through Thomas's defenses of hell, and he like defends a very strong view of hell. But there was like the question of like whether it would be right to pray for the redemption of the damned.
Yeah, it was on that question, I think. That's
and it seemed like he was saying that it can be reasonable to pray for the redemption of the damned, not through their own ability to sort of turn away from sin, but rather through God's sort of grace, sort of like allowing them to turn away from sin. And so yeah, that seems like a very odd view, and I'm not really sure how much it really fits with the broader sort of Catholic tradition. But yeah, I can see, I don't know, I think it's quite the sort of grasp of straws to sort of draw from that single section that he's a universalist.
Yeah.
It's a very small section in regards to like a much broader segment of like defending the strong view of hell. So
JB scheming something up.
No, I was putting a question in chat for what appears to be one person watching the stream right now. You know,
well, I think I'm going to go to bed anyway because of the time. So it's been nice talking to you. Good to see you again.
Yeah, see you. I'm probably going to get off pretty soon too.
No, you're not. You're stuck here for eternity.
See you around. Thanks.
See you, Nathan. This is your purgatory. You have to work off your sins.
Dang. I don't have any. Never done anything wrong.
All right, Ethan, have you ever told a lie?
Nope, never.
Do you know what that
wait, I just did.
A liar. Have you ever told the truth?
Well, that's a better question.
How can you know the truth when you live in sin?
There you go. What do you mean, truth? What do you mean, told?
In truth. Damn, these progressive liberal Christians.
I'm a postmodernist. I don't believe truth exists.
Truth is just what I think it is.
We have alternative facts.
That's a good. Actually, isn't that already like a name of a YouTube channel? Yeah,
I don't know.
Something like that.
You think I should go with that if it's not?
I don't know. Some sort of ironic sort of channel name that could be funny.
Yeah, I've been like thinking of kind of new things to do or whatever.
hmm
with my
Yeah,
You
YouTube
just started
channel.
a whole new thing on your channel and merged it with somebody else,
Yeah, we're still kind of doing the same old stuff.
and that made me really upset because John and I were trying to take over your channel, not
Yeah,
give half of his channel to you.
I guess that means we win because like
Yeah.
he's got rid of it. So
I mean, I posted a video on my channel not too long ago too.
there you go. That's probably much more recent than my last video. So you got a leg up on me.
My last video was with Robert Reed. How long ago was that, Ethan? You were in the chat for that one.
I don't know. I did one 2 weeks ago on my channel,
All right,
Maybe
yeah,
a month ago.
good job.
responding to John Piper.
I'll tell you, Ethan's a loyal fan. He pops up every time I do a stream. He never likes or comments, but
Oh, I like it right now. I like the stream I'm on.
You just got to
exactly.
on every single video of yours, and then you'll get that like from him. All right. So, what sort of projects were you thinking of? Sort of.
Yeah, the children's book was one. I mean, my kids are like obsessed with books,
Okay.
so it made me
Harry
think
Potter.
about
That'd be cool.
do what?
Harry Potter.
Yeah, they're reading Harry Potter as 1.5-year-olds. No,
It's
but I
never
kind
too
of
young to start the witchcraft.
I kind of thought about like making children's books about like Christians throughout history with like interesting stories or whatever, and
Yeah.
just like really simplified down and maybe sort of like historical fiction type, but like still relevant. Like I was talking to John about it, and he suggested, I don't even know how to say her name, but it's like Macrina or something. The younger, it's Basil, the older sister, who like and actually like taught him a lot of stuff. He wrote a book about her life and all this stuff. She seems really interesting, so I've been like doing my research.
Oh, cool.
And then I thought maybe like Albert Schweitzer would be a cool person to write a book about. Just some like people that are like fairly famous to our history, but not like super well known.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be really
pretty cool.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
like, yeah, for, like just the lives of the saints. I mean, there's a whole breadth of like stories there that are, and they already have this sort of like larger than life sort of aspect to them. So like being able to sort of like finagle some of the facts just to get a better story out of it is that big of a deal, especially like it's a kid's book. Like
exactly. I thought about including parts in it too, like a more historically accurate part for like the parent or adult or whatever who's reading the book.
Yeah, just have an asterisk next to some event that happens, and then like a short half page of text in the footnotes. Like, okay, this didn't technically happen. There was no corroborating evidence for this.
Yeah. Oh, you're talking about the resurrection?
Yep, it's actually fake news.
Get behind me, JB and Ethan. Gosh, man, I'm the only Christian in this room, man.
My boys actually just got baptized last weekend.
Oh yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah,
I liked that photo.
Nice.
Have y'all heard of the minimum facts? There's 4 facts that all scholars agree upon.
There you go.
Yeah, I had to make sure my 1.5-year-old twins understood the minimal facts before they were able to get baptized.
You got to get them started young. Yeah. There you go.
They had to affirm the historical reliability of.
Yeah, I believe in believers' baptism, and like I just gotta say, okay, do you believe that Jesus Christ is your Savior? And then, okay, good. Next,
which one? Was it the argument for motion, or was it the kalam that got him involved in church in the first place?
There's actually ontological argument that
there you go.
That got him.
A real white.
You sat down and played some of that Jay Dyer for him, huh?
Yeah.
He's their favorite, yeah.
I don't think I've ever listened to that guy for more than like 5 minutes. I don't really know. I just know what he's about, but
yeah.
I go through these spills, and I'll DM like Steven Steen, and I'm like, hey, this is what I'm watching today, and he's like, why do you hate yourself? I went through and listened to Jay Dyer having a talk with Malpass, and he was talking to Alex Malpass, and he was like, well, if you would read Kant, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure out of the two of y'all, Malpass has read Kant and understands it pretty well.
Yeah, I watch a lot more brain dead content and when I'm in my free time than
There you go. What sort of stuff
com-
do you watch?
I watch H3 a lot. If you're familiar with them, that's
Yeah.
like my main like go to, just like not really thinking podcast.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And then I watch some like just some comedians. I'll bounce around or whatever, like Tom Segura's podcast. John turned me on to that one. And then
That is
John
hilarious.
keeps telling me like he's got me watching like whatever, the Come Town guys or
Oh
whatever.
yeah. Nick
Yeah.
Mullen and all those guys. Those
Yeah,
guys.
so I've been watching Adam Friedland's show or whatever that started.
Oh yeah. I saw that there was this new like hour and a half long episode thing, and I thought at first it was just a podcast episode, and I started to listen to it, and I'm like, no, there's video components to this as well. So I was like, shoot, now I gotta like actually
It's
watch.
super confusing to try and figure out like what's going on. They're like it's like the definition of like bad marketing with everything they do. You can never tell if it's like the right channel or whatever, but I don't know. There's something special, I guess, with those guys.
That's funny. No, yeah, like my friend Emerson Green, he talked me into listening to Come Town just because he's always like quoting it and stuff like that. But no, they're really funny, and like they're
Yeah, the clips or whatever are just hilarious. I mean, I'll be
Exactly.
dying sometimes.
yeah.
They're so bad though. Like
Yeah.
they're just like it's ridiculous. But yeah, so
Nice.
Look, I worked 60 hours this week. I don't want to hear anything from you, Ethan.
I mean, I worked 40 hours.
Plus, he has twins, so
Yeah,
I've got a 15 and an 11-year-old.
I mean, that seems difficult in a much different way.
And my 11-year-old's sitting in the living room watching TV right now. Well, I chit-chat with people on the internet.
Yeah, I probably do need to get off here though.
All right. Well, good luck.
It was nice talking to you guys.
It's both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll probably post like stuff about it when I actually get more done.
But
I'll
yeah.
send you a better shirt.
Oh yeah, here I'll show you. I made a cover the other day on Photoshop.
It's like hands.
Share my screen.
No.
Do I want to? Is this gonna get me? Is this gonna get me kicked?
No.
Is my one viewer gonna report me?
What kind of kid is this? Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I took one of John's wife's, Laura's, like, I don't know if you've seen, she like makes these things out of crochet.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like not actually the right person, or this is like Miriam Moses's wife or whatever. But
is she like holding a grenade in her?
Yeah, it's a tambourine and like I don't know what this other one is.
Like instance maybe.
But I'm thinking of using those as like the art for the book. Cool. I thought that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
You're gonna have to buy the book if you want to see a better picture of the cover.
Yeah, that's all you get.
That's all you get for free.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm out of here.
JB
Have a good night, guys.
In order to get Ethan's book. All right. Good night.
Well, we have to go for this stuff, huh? Ben won't come in. I'm trying to get Ben to come in.
Ben,
amateur exegete.
Oh, amateur exegete. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Ye of Little Faith. He can come on in. I'll send him a link. He's got a link.
I'm not sure if I know his first name or not. I feel bad. There's so many people on Twitter that I just know them from their like avatar and stuff like that. And like sometimes they'll tell me their like actual name, and then I'll like still call them by their actual ad.
Yeah. Yeah, like it's weird. Like I know people's names. Oh, well, you didn't have to out yourself there, but I mean, if you wanted to, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, I did the whole JB thing just as like a little moniker thing whenever I first started Twitter and just ran with it. And then now it's just like, because I ran like, when I got on Twitter, I was running Twitter basically just to follow celebrities and like sports people. Like, and then I think the first people I really started following was Non-Sex Show whenever they blew up. I mean,
who?
Dude, I ain't never seen the Non-Sex Show.
Yeah.
I've never seen a show that goes from nothing to what that show was that fast. Like, I mean, I think they had like 20,000 subs or whatever. So, I mean, it wasn't like huge, but I mean, they blew up in like 3 months. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
then I
they
started.
kind of got the ball rolling with the whole sort of like, well, some of the people, at least within the sort of like philosophical realm. Yeah, they sort of like set up those debates and did a lot of content. Yeah, I remember watching quite a few of their debates that they did.
Yeah. I think what really got them was they had the Arn Ra Kent Hovind debate, and I think that's the one that really put them on the map when they were able to get that one set up.
Yeah. I want to say, I don't know, at least for me, the one that I've watched more than a couple times now is the Inspiring Philosophy Tom Jump debate, because I clipped a few segments from that in the compilation that I did of Tom Jump. And that's the thing. In order to make a 2.5 hour long video or I don't know, however long it is, you have to watch a lot of Tom Jump content. So like, even though I don't like agree with any of his philosophy or anything like that, there's a sense in which I actually enjoy listening to him. He's like a sort of master rhetorician, I think. So like, I don't know. I think Tom Jump is actually pretty interesting, and like his whole approach is pretty fun.
I have problems with his morality discussions because he'll attack Christians and be like, well, you have to have evidence, and for a what is it, a physical claim in reality, you have to have physical evidence. If it's a conceptual thing, then you need conceptual evidence or whatever. And he's like, morality is a physical aspect of reality, but I have no physical evidence. It's all intuition. And I'm like, then you have no reason to believe it based on like your own criteria.
Yeah, if you were to ask him like, okay, what differentiates your imaginings about what are the moral laws from your imagination? Sorry, what differentiates the reality about the moral law from your imagination? Or something like that. And he'll say that like, oh no, he's not actually making a claim about the world. He's saying that he's just postulating it as like a hypothesis, and then it's going to make certain predictions about how like in the future people will no longer like see non-agents as being non-moral aspects, and they'll say that like certain things will be immoral even though they're not agents in the future. And so he's making a prediction. He's not saying when this is going to happen. But
the one that he had on Modern Day Debate, probably I think a year or two ago with Destiny on morality, and he was like, well, it's intuition, and he was like, he's like, it's moral progress and moral intuition. If you take where we've been going and plot it out on the thing, this is where it shows to be going. And Destiny's like, yeah, but you're begging the question by saying it's better.
Yeah.
He's like, morality could be getting worse. You're just saying it's better. So now you have to explain why that is automatically better. And he's like, well, that's where more people want it to go. And he's like, that's just an argument for popularity. That has no bearing on whether it's true.
Yeah. No, that's the thing is like, because T-Jump is so broad in all of his different arguments and stuff like that, I just found it fun to like, he said this thing here. That kind of relates to what he said over here. Let's just pair them up together.
Yes.
That was actually one piece of content that I was like really, had fun sort of creating. So maybe like, since I'm not actually doing anything with my channel, maybe I should finally take down my coat and go in T-Jump's Biggest Blunders Part 2. I don't know. There was a while that I wanted to do Vosh's Biggest Blunders, because he's another type of like guy that has a lot of content online. It's always in debates and shit like that. And he starts to say some like really radical, wild stuff. I don't know if it's like, I don't know. I listen to some like debates that Vosh does, and it's also very interesting. But yeah, it's pretty wild, and so I thought it might be fun to, like,
I think him and T-Jump both had the same thing. Like they had the ability to just talk and like make it sound interesting. Like,
yeah, and like they'll have this sort of tone and like the ability to sort of like throw the person that they're talking with off their sort of like on their I don't know, throw them off, and it basically gives the illusion that, oh wow, they're winning this debate.
Vosh has the voice for internet debates.
Wait. Yeah. Hold on. Yeah.
The first time I ever listened to Vosh was on the Non Sequitur show. He did
Oh,
a
yeah?
debate with Josh Brister
Oh man.
on religion, and that was terrible.
Yeah, I can imagine. I don't
You know,
think.
that was
Yeah, probably.
like he even got to the point where like Steve stepped in and was like, Josh, you've got to come with an actual argument. You can't just say people have said this in the past. He's like, you have to actually like say something here. I haven't seen Josh on Twitter in a while. Hope he's okay. I know he went through some spills, so he had some.
Yeah.
I don't want to say mental stuff going on, but he had some stuff going on.
Yeah, something going on. I think I don't know. Last I checked, he had a YouTube channel and he was sort of posting some schizophrenic-ish stuff. I don't know if I'm saying that not in a like actual mental illness sense, but just sort of stuff that is very sort of paranoid and sort of like inflammatory and stuff like that. I haven't watched. I don't know. I haven't been keeping up with him at all though. Just ask him. Okay, yeah, we'll have to ask him. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't heard from him in a while. That was the first encounter. No, that was the second encounter I think I had with him.
Mm.
He showed up one day in to help SJ out in an SJ debate on the non sequitur show one time. It's weird. Like I found so many people through the I found Craig through the non sequitur show, SJ through the non sequitur show, Steve through the non sequitur show, Dr. Josh through the non sequitur show, Skylar Fiction through the non sequitur show.
Did we first interact through following Steve McRae on Twitter? I feel
It
like
was either Steve or Craig. I can't remember which one.
oh okay, yeah. So yeah, if you were following Craig through his YouTube channel or something like that, then yeah. It would
No, my first interaction with I found Craig on Twitter not too long after he did a thing on non-sex show. He showed up with SJ one time on there talking about the resurrection or something. And I ended up following him on Twitter and he put something on Twitter and I responded with a like 3 tweet long response of why he can't make the conclusions that he made from what he was saying. And he was like, okay, I see what you're saying. And then we just started like small interactions from there. And then it
nice.
just became me. It became me trolling him a little bit, and but he was great about it. Like, I mean, you know,
That's what I love about Craig is he's very laid back. He's able to actually interact with people like a normal human being, and he's like, yeah, he's yeah, he's a good guy.
he's told a couple of people that he was going to prove God to him within like a year, and people are.
A lot of talk, Craig. You hear that? Maybe he's coming at you.
But I haven't heard from Craig in a while.
Where's God?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what I want to do with my channel. I think I want to have V La Bianca on. But they're a hard person to track down. Especially with a little tiny channel like I got. But with V, I'm kind of interesting because they went from not many people knowing who they were to blowing up on the ACA as a host of Talk Heathen, and then becoming like, like a figure in that community. You know what I mean? Even after they branched away from the ACA. So I mean, I kind of want to talk to them about the whole like because they're non-binary. So I want to talk to them basically on like do they see themselves more as a like trans activist or an atheist activist, and how do they balance, between the two of them? Just kind of like, Arjuna, is that his name from Theology Unleashed?
The Hindu, yeah.
I've been trying to set something up with him for a while to have a discussion on that.
That'd be a good one.
That's all I got. The Pope won't come on my channel.
All right, Cameron, reach out to the Pope. We know Cameron's watching this, of course. So.
I was going to ask you earlier, did you and Cameron automatically become best friends now that he's Catholic? Is that how that works? Do y'all have like a Catholic like group app or something that y'all just like text each other?
Yeah, he's now invited to the group app, and so we interact and stuff like that. No, it's funny. I went to his
Catholic Discord channel with like 7 billion of y'all in there.
Yep. We taught him the new secret handshake and how to worship Moloch and Mary and all that. So yeah, so
that's good. Knights, y'all taught him all about the Da Vinci Code and the Knights Templar and the Baphomet statues underground in the Vatican.
Right about all this, yeah. No, yeah, it's been fun for him. Yeah, it's kind of funny. We interacted a little bit at his conference, but he was like so busy but I got to meet up with him there in person and chat a little bit. But yeah, we actually talked a little bit through DMs talking about his conversion, and I was trying to tell him about how I don't know, just some common aspects about both of us being converts to Catholicism. So,
I hold it against him, but I probably shouldn't because I mean he's got a pretty decent sized channel and following, but I don't something rubs me the wrong way about people that only like he's got his Twitter settings set to where he only gets notifications and stuff from people that he's mutuals with, and it's kind of like, I mean, you're kind of setting yourself into an echo chamber where you're not. I don't understand how you can branch out when you're limiting your circle to people that you already interact with. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No. I definitely I do find it a little bit. I don't know. I much more. I like it when like large creators can be able to interact with people smaller down. Although, if you go through like the replies that he gets on Twitter, I can kind of understand like why you sort of like avoid a lot of that, especially if you don't want the added stress of like those sorts of negative interactions from people on Twitter.
But I'll also say, he doesn't follow me, but I follow him, and he's now Michael Jones is also a very popular, person in that sphere. But I've been able to get reactions and replies back from Mr. Jones.
That's true.
So I mean, I know he's got.
Hear that, Cameron? Michael's got thicker skin than you. So, all right, now he's closed out. He's no longer watching it. Great, you just had to. But I don't know. I mean, it's his Twitter account. Yeah, I would I know a few people that want to interact with some of the stuff that he's tweeting, but they know that he's probably not even seeing it because he doesn't have notifications. So it just becomes sort of useless. When is John Buck going to convert us to Catholicism? Oh. By the end of this stream, everyone in this call, as soon as JB leaves, will be Catholic.
Okay, so I wanted to go over this with you. I'm gonna pull this up. I'm gonna pull it up on my phone. I'm just gonna give you the highlights.
Okay.
So let me figure out how to do this.
Is this the paper or the thing you were working on about, like objective morality?
Yeah, about how I don't think that the two great commandments, I guess that's what we're calling it because that's what it's called. I'm not sure. I don't think it holds as a thing for morality as many Christians use it.
Okay.
And I'll send it to you if you want me to.
Sure.
All right. So, oh my gosh, just open. Thank you. Oh my gosh, let me get it on here. Let me see if I can pull this up. I'm trying, man. I don't know how to use technology. Will you be my behind the scenes guy?
Look, I already have enough on my plate trying to handle Craig, okay? I can't handle two technologically illiterate boomers.
Okay, it's not letting me pull it up on here. That's stupid. I had it pulled up before. I don't know why it's not letting me do it.
Just share it on the screen like you were doing earlier.
Yeah, but you don't know how big of a hassle it is.
Yeah, it's not like I've ever ran a stream before. Okay.
Craig never even used video. He sat in his car playing with the cats.
Yeah, but I have to be on video because, like, otherwise it's just gonna be this blank screen talking to some person that's just like, who do I look at? This seems so
Okay, so here we go. Okay, and the gospel. All right, so I run it based off of. So basically, the argument that I use is I run it based off of Mark because scholarly consensus is Mark was the first gospel, and everything that came after it was a variation of Mark. So I'm speaking strictly on Mark here. That's the one that I'm dealing with. So you've got Mark 12:28-31 is, and one of the scribes heard them disputing with one another, and seeing that he answered them well, asked him which commandment is the most important of all. And Jesus answered, the most important is, Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one, and you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your mind, and with all your strength. The second is this, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. There is no other commandment greater than these. You with me so far?
Mhm.
Okay. This is the ESV version. It's a random version.
Yeah,
We can
it's
change versions. It's not going to change that much.
Yeah.
So if we start with Mark 12:29-30, which is the love your God with all your heart and soul, or whatever. The thing here is this ties back to Deuteronomy 6:4-5, which is, Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one, and you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind and all your strength. Under this context, what would it mean to love God with all your soul, mind, and strength? We can reasonably conclude that it would mean to uphold all the commandments of God. That's what that would mean. And in doing so, it also takes on to the punishments of failing of those commandments. So if the laws are, if you do X, they shall be put to death, that's one law. So that's what's supposed to be followed
Right.
based off of that commandment. So that would include all 630 commandments that could be reasonably sustained while under the authority of Rome. The laws of Moses had many provisions understood, if not directly written, for changes in the stipulations of the people of Israel. Look at the sacrifices in the temple as an example. If there's not a temple of which to house sacrifices, then there cannot be any sacrifices, and God is okay in understanding of that. So we have a precedent to where if you have situations where you can't do certain things, then it's okay to not do them. And the second one is love your neighbor as yourself. So this is a paraphrase from Leviticus 19:18. Do not seek revenge or bear a grudge against anyone among your people, but love your neighbor as yourself. So, where we at? The key part of this part is basically, if you're treating a foreigner the same as the Israelite, then you are holding them to the same standards of living. Love your neighbor as yourself is a continuation of this teaching. Caring about your neighbor does not mean caring for everyone on the planet. We can simply use the Bible to argue against this by pointing to all the times God commanded attacking neighboring lands. Attacking a neighboring land is not very loving, so we are only left to assume that they must not fall under the meaning of neighbor. The Jewish person today upholding the commandments does not believe the Palestinian is his neighbor. As a perfect example. So therefore, love your God with all your mind and strength basically means uphold all of his commandments, and love your neighbor as yourself doesn't extend to everybody on the planet. So it's not a good basis of objective morality.
I see. Yeah, I get that. I guess one thing I'm sort of thinking about in regards to sort of the first commandment, like it seems like somebody could be quoting some prior thing and holding it up as like some sort of authority without also like endorsing all the other commitments associated with that. So like it could very well be the case that the leaders of the United States or the founders of the United States like quoted the Magna Carta, which was like a sort of legal document in England, and like actually decided to uphold that component of the Magna Carta in their constitution. But I don't think that by quoting the Magna Carta that they are thereby saying that, okay, everyone who is a member of the United States is has to obey all of these other components of English law, because like a lot of English law probably was rejected, like the fact that they don't have to pay taxes to the king or anything like that. So yeah, that's at least one thought, that like maybe when Jesus is sort of quoting the components from the Tanakh there about love the Lord your God, the Lord your God is one. That is going to be endorsing, I guess, or affirming that component of the Tanakh without also affirming and endorsing all of the other commandments that comes along with it. That's just at least one thought.
Okay. I mean, I could counter that, but I'm not like trying to pick a fight with you. I'm just, like I said, I'm just trying to. This is a thought that I had, and
Uh-huh.
I kind of like it was. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not a PhD scholar. I don't read ancient Hebrew. I don't. I don't. I can't tell you the 50 differences between First Temple, Second Temple Judaism. I can't tell you whether that was JDE or P that conversation came from from a documentary hypothesis. You know what I mean? But
Me neither. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
it's just something that I thought of one day and kind of sat down and worked through in my head or whatever. And yeah, like I said, I'll send you a copy if you want to look at it.
Sure. Yeah.
It's just over 3 pages. It ain't like very long. Most of it's just biblical quotes. I mean,
There you go. Yeah.
you just skip over. Well, it's a lot of repetitive stuff. So I mean, it's a lot of like this was here, so copy and paste it. 2 paragraphs later.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested in giving you a read just to get a better insight into like how the argument is supposed to go. Yeah, it's interesting for sure.
But I don't like objective morality, so I mean, it's kind of
boom morality.
I don't know. I can't see a basis for it. That's just.
So are you? I don't know. So it seems to me like that there's, let's say, like 5 maybe different positions that one could take on meta ethics. Objective morality being sort of like one of those. I don't know, maybe 4, I guess. Do you think that you're just like? Do you have a sort of position that you lean towards? Like, oh, I lean towards error theory or lean towards objectivism.
I don't know enough about them.
Fair.
I believe morality. I believe morality is subjective because I believe it's something that everybody comes up with on their own. But
do you think anybody could be wrong about like what they should or shouldn't do? Like even though they believe or feel like they should. Oh hey. Hello.
That's John.
Hi, John.
Hello. Nice to meet you.
Can I help you?
Yeah.
I'll be there in a minute. I can be much longer. Love you too. So I believe everybody has their own sets of morality. I don't believe. Now, I believe people can be wrong, but I don't believe people can be capital wrong, if that makes sense. So if you tell me that, like I'm not a fan of strawberries. So if you tell me that strawberry is the best ice cream, or strawberry ice cream tastes good, then I can disagree with you and think that you are wrong on that standpoint.
Right.
But I can't tell you that you are objectively wrong.
Right. So like if we were to say that, because like there's certain things that exist or are true whether or not we exist. Like I could say the earth is something that exists objectively, because even if I didn't exist and didn't know about the earth, then it would still be true that the earth exists and stuff like that. And so I guess the question then is like, do you think that there's any actions of other people that are wrong, but they would be wrong whether or not you existed? Or do you think that no, for any action that I want to say is wrong, it's only wrong because I happen to exist? And
okay, here's where I'm going to seek clarification. And this is the problem that I have with hypotheticals. Morality hypotheticals, I don't think you can get to a 0 starting point. You walk into those conversations with your presuppositions and your beliefs and where you stand right now. Like I believe Hitler was wrong. Now, the thing that everybody likes to say is, well, if Hitler won the war and everybody believed that Hitler was right, would Hitler be right? I can tell you, growing up in the society that I have grown up in, that I would believe he is wrong. I can't tell you how I would view things in that society.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So torturing babies for fun, I think is wrong. Now,
Ooh, torturing babies for no, yeah, I get you. Yeah.
most of society agrees with me,
Mm.
and that's a good thing. But I
Yeah.
don't know if I can tell you it is. I can say it's always wrong because I always disagree with it, but I can't tell you that it's objectively, definitively outside of nature wrong. So, you're asking me is there something somebody can do that would be wrong even if I didn't exist? I don't know because I would have to exist to evaluate that situation.
Well, do you have to say the same thing though about like the country of Australia or the Earth or the Sun? Or, like that's something I can't know whether or not it exists, just because I would have to exist in order to know whether it exists. Like,
Okay.
no.
Can you give me an example of a moral proposition for me to evaluate without me being alive?
Yeah. So like the proposition that like what Hitler did was wrong. Like it seems like that's going to be true whether or not you happen to exist. Just
Well,
like saying the fact that the sun exists is going to be true whether or not you exist.
so as somebody who believes that morals are subjective, I'm going to tell you that it's going to depend on who you talk to.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so here's this thought that I've been having, especially in regards to subjectivism. I'm sure you're familiar. I mean, partially, like I'm not even that well familiar with it, but the Euthyphro dilemma against divine
Mhm.
command, which sort of goes that like either God has reasons for issuing commands or he has no reasons, or like
Yeah,
the
I got you.
the gods love it when you worship him or for some reason or they don't. And
Yeah.
so like, I think the question can be asked for the moral subjectivist, like, is it the case that you find Hitler's behavior deplorable because it was wrong, or is it the case that you find it wrong because you find it deplorable? And it seems to me that if it's that latter one, that's going to be subjectivism, but it no longer means that you no longer have like some reason behind your feeling of deplorability, if that's like
My
whatever usage.
my my biggest issue with an argument against subjectivism
Mhm.
is it always comes down to um it's not an argument from emotion. It's an argument from consequence. I don't like where that leaves me. And
Uh,
that's
yeah, sure. Some arguments are like that. I don't know if this one is like that because, like, I don't know. This seems like it's sort of it's an argument that was issued against the divine command theorist, and I don't think that like the person like objecting to divine command theory is saying like, oh, I don't like divine command theory, therefore divine command theory is wrong. It seems like it's a
so
legitimate question to ask the divine command theorist.
was Hitler deplorable because he was wrong, or
No,
was
no, no.
he
Do I find Hitler deplorable because what Hitler did was wrong, or was what Hitler did wrong because I find it deplorable? And it seems like that latter option is going to be the subjectivist position, in the same way that like,
I think both of them would be subjectivist.
well, not necessarily, because like you could, if you have some reason for your feeling, then that reason is going to be something other than your feeling, which is like causing your feeling to occur.
Well, yeah, but my feeling could be based on the way that I was raised or the society that I live in. Those are reasons for my feeling.
Right. So then the way that you were raised is not going to be a fact about Hitler or what he did at all.
My beliefs on Hitler are going to be impacted based on how I was raised.
Right, exactly. So then it's not going to be the case that your feeling about Hitler is based upon the wrongness of Hitler's action. It's going to be based upon, well, I was raised to exist within a society that decries Hitler's actions.
Okay, well, I was raised in a society that decries Hitler's
Okay. So there you go. Then it seems like the moral subjectivist has no reason behind their feeling of like finding Hitler's actions deplorable at all. It's just I was raised in a culture that doesn't like Hitler, and so I'm just going to go along with what my culture says, I guess.
Yeah, but I have no main reason why I like chocolate ice cream over strawberry. I have no main reason why I prefer green over yellow.
Hmm.
I mean, every subjective decision that I make is based off of like
Right? Yeah, yeah,
I don't have a reason for it. I'm just
yeah.
I
No,
don't find that my biggest problem is I don't see an argument for objective morality, and
well, okay. So,
because
at,
we don't
well,
have to get too deep into this. I'm just
yeah, yeah.
I was just
We can focus on- But at least in regards to like my taste preferences and things like that, those aren't really like propositional attitudes that I'm holding about like the way that things are. It seems like, yeah, I happen to prefer mint chocolate chip ice cream, um, uh, but that's not like a belief about something being right or wrong. So it seems like if I do hold a belief about something being right or wrong, but I don't have some reason to hold that belief, rather, I just am holding to this belief because of some feeling I guess I have, then it doesn't seem like I can be like justified to affirm this sort of position that um
I think
that
you're asking the wrong question.
okay, what's the
I
right
think you're
question?
asking the wrong question. It's not I like mint chocolate chip ice cream is not a proposition about something being right or wrong. It's about somebody saying that mint chocolate it's about somebody coming to you and saying banana flavored ice cream is the best.
Okay.
Therefore, you can view it as a right or wrong statement because you either agree or disagree.
Right. I see what you're saying, that like somebody might say that something is best, and maybe they're trying to say it, they mean it in a sort of objective sense, or maybe they mean it in a subjective sense, like and I guess we could say that when we say what Hitler did is wrong, we're not meaning it in the sense that everyone should also believe this. Rather, we're only just saying it in the sense that no, this is something I happen to believe, and whether you believe it or not is just going to be come down to a difference in, I guess, subjective attitudes that we have.
I,
I don't.
I'll
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll never get the conversation, and I'm scared to death of the conversation. But every time I've heard aspiring philosophy talk about objective morality, it's
Mhm.
always come down to his intuitions. And he's like, that's the standard in philosophy. You agree with your intuitions until you have a reason to question them, and then you reevaluate everything. And my biggest thing is it's morality. It's not an intuition. You were raised with it. You come into that conversation already with presupposition. So you're not starting from a zero slate.
No, yeah, it's definitely the case that we come into it with sort of presumptions already and presuppositions. Yeah,
But if you ask him what an intuition is, he's going to say it's your starting point before you have any data. And I'm like, you were raised with the data, so you don't come to morality from a zero data game.
yeah, no, I can see that. Yeah, like there's probably a lot of intuitions that we are very much culturally embedded into us.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's where I'm at with it. I'm like, I don't know how you separate from it being objective to it being just what society has become. I mean, I don't know
Sure, yeah. At
how you
least for
draw that line.
how to like the best defense of objectivism, in my opinion, is just going to be comparing it against the other theories and notice that no, all the other theories seem to have some like significant flaw to them.
You can't give me a flaw for subjective morality other than you don't like what its consequences are.
Well, I thought I was giving the problem being that like okay, for the person that holds the belief that what Hitler did was wrong, they have no reason to hold that belief, and so they're not justified to hold this belief. And yeah, I guess it rests upon the assumption that like in order to hold a belief, you must have some reason to hold that belief, I guess.
Do I
Um,
have a reason to believe chocolate ice cream is good?
well, I don't know. Like, I think you do have, and I have a reason to believe that you hold that you think chocolate ice cream is good, based upon the fact that you happen to enjoy chocolate ice cream quite a bit, and that seems like yeah, that's a belief about a feeling. But I don't think that when we say what Hitler did is wrong, we're saying, I believe that I don't like what Hitler did. Like maybe that's what you mean, but it seems like there's sort of something more, because it's, for one is a fact about yourself, like an assessment of my own judgments about the world, and another is an assessment about something about the world.
No, it's an assessment on my opinion on a situation in the world. The same way I'm having an opinion on the bowl of ice cream in front of me, I'm having an opinion on the world. All we're doing is going from a bowl of ice cream to the world. We're just changing the scale of what we're giving an opinion on.
So, like, if we were to sort of unpack what is meant by the phrase, what Hitler did was wrong, we could say that this is a claim about you, or it's a claim about Hitler. And if it's a claim about Hitler, then I don't think it's going to be able to be justified from the sort of like feelings that one has. I don't know. I just don't see that to be the sort of proper chain of justifying basis. I don't know. Like, imagine I was to make a claim about how there are, I don't know, 357 million people in Australia right now. I have no idea if that's even like close to the accurate number. And my reason for thinking this is because I have a feeling that there's that particular number. And you would say that's not an adequate justification for that belief. Like, you need to have some sort of connection between the fact of the matter in Australia and you're holding to that belief. But it's like, no, yeah, I just feel this way.
So, can you name anything outside of morality that is objective, that is not measurable?
Well, I guess it would depend upon like whether we want to say that mathematical equations are going to be objective or measurable. I tend to think that 2 + 2 = 4 is going to be true, whether or not there are more than 3 objects in the world. I don't know if you would believe in that. I believe that as well, but it seems to me, at least, that that's a statement that's going to be true regardless of what we can measure.
But that's been proven though. Through mathematics. That's been proven through mathematics and through.
Yeah. So you were just asking for an instance of something that is true that is not empirically measurable.
Is mathematics not measurements though?
I don't think so. I mean, like a lot of mathematics, or some mathematics at least, deals with like irrational numbers, and so it's not really something that's there in the world that we're measuring. Plus, yeah, if you like look at the sort of standards of mathematics, it's not the case that they're like confirming their math by like measuring things in the world or anything like that. They're working with the very abstract objects, the numbers that we're sort of just drawing out and then sort of working with in order.
Yeah, but the numbers are representations of objects though.
We certainly represent objects in the world using numbers, but I don't know if when a mathematician is sort of like performing a calculation that they need the objects that those numbers are representing in order to do that work. It seems
you don't need the objects, but the numbers are a representation of the objects.
I mean, theoretically, you could have numbers without the things that they're representing. Like, let's suppose that I'm imagining 14 people in the room next to me, and I'm gonna like draw out the number and like do some sort of equation based upon that. And it just happens to be the case that there are not 14 people in the room next to me. That's an instance where the numbers are representing something that doesn't actually exist.
Yeah, but they're okay. So I see what the confusion is. I'm not saying that they represent. I'm not saying the numbers represent something that exists. The numbers represent. This is, oh my gosh. This is why I hate philosophy.
Hey, you brought it up. It's on you. I guess you could say like we come to believe things about the numbers based upon our interactions with the world, maybe. And so it does have some sort of empirical basis in a sense.
You know what? William Lane Craig said that math proves God, so just whatever.
I win again. it's especially funny
No,
because
but-
like he's anomalous. He doesn't believe that there are any sort of mathematical entities in the world. So I don't know what this fictional thing proves another fictional deity. Oh man.
Oh, that's getting clipped.
No.
No, but like, so when I say the numbers represent an object,
Uh-huh.
um, mental constructs can be an object. So whether you have actual 14 people in the room or not, you have a mental construction of 14 people.
Sure.
That's what I meant by
I got you.
the
Yeah,
numbers. The numbers represent an
Yeah.
object. So whether the object exists or not, you have the mental construction of the object. And this is why I was like, I hate philosophy, because now we're going into what is an actual object and do mental constructions exist, and it's
Yeah. At least to me, like it seems like it would be true that even if no human mental minds at all existed, it would still be true that 2 + 2 does equal 4. Like I recognize that when we're
we couldn't prove that though.
huh?
We couldn't prove that.
No, we couldn't. Yeah, because like in a world in which none of us exist, there wouldn't be
But
anybody to prove things.
so if no humans existed, see here's okay. This is something that, and I'm gonna butcher this, but if I can find it, I'll link it to you on on Twitter. Malpass had a conversation with Darth Dawkins, everybody's favorite Christian,
Mhm.
and they were going over the presuppositional argument. And I mean, Malpass wasn't like beating him up. He was like, "Look, man, here's where your argument's flawed. This is what you need to, you know what I mean?" And he was trying to just walk him down the thing, and it was and Darth Dawkins asked him a question. He said, "In a world," and he gave him like this hypothetical world,
Mhm.
and Malpass was like, "Well, yes, that would be true because that's the rules of the hypothetical world. So when you're telling me without any human, so if we're outside of this world, like completely, and we're looking into this world, does 2 + 2 still equal 4? Well, yes, because that's the rules of this world. So whether we're here or not, the rules of this world still exist the way they are. And one of the places that I agree with Tom Jump, as much bashing as I do on Tom Jump or whatever, I believe that the problem with the laws of logic is that they're nothing but sentences that are a verbal representation of what reality is, and that's why they can't be false, because they are a definition of reality, more so than reality obeying the laws of logic. It's the laws of logic are a description of reality.
Right. Yeah.
So
So, I don't know. I guess the point I was wanting to make is that the 2 + 2 = 4 is going to be true even in a world in which there are no mental constructs for which the numbers to represent.
no, because numbers don't exist, and you have to have a mind in order to have the numbers.
All right, theist.
Let me ask you this real quick. I mean, we've been here for like an hour and 40
Yeah,
minutes.
I should probably head out.
Yeah, no, it's cool. Can you give me one argument for objective morality that doesn't fall back to a deity? And I mean, if you say that yours is in the deity, then I mean that's fine. I'm just curious.
No, yeah. So I don't know if like morality really rests on a deity at all. Like the way that I think about sort of morality is thinking about the nature of things, that like the whether or not God exists, I think it would still be wrong to like torture a baby. And I think what sort of grounds that moral truth, I guess, is going to be some fact about what's good for that baby, and how the fact that the baby is a good thing, and so torturing that good thing is going to be a bad action. And I don't think it like depends upon God in order to sort of ground this sort of moral truth about what actions are morally appropriate and inappropriate, I guess. So, and I don't know, maybe it's just my having interacted with a lot of like atheists that are moral realists, I no longer really like see the appeal to the sort of moral argument for God's existence.
But then based on that position, I have to ask you, what do you mean by torture?
Inflicting pain. Yeah.
So if I have to give a kid a shot, then I'm torturing it, and that could be good.
I mean,
See, this is the problem.
Good, but it's also going to be bad in some sense. So, like, yeah, I get what you're saying, though. That like the wrongness of the act could be overturned by the fact that you're doing it for a good reason. Yeah.
I say it tongue in cheek, but I mean, that's the issue that I have with philosophy. It's just, and
I could have like stipulated like, okay, torture is for fun without good reason and all those things.
Yeah, here's a 15-point summary on the definition of torture.
Here is my fully discernible a priori intuition about what is morally right.
Yeah.
It's like
it's just this. But see, and one of the reasons, and I've told several people this. I don't know if I've told you this before. I've got no problem. I understand the concepts better than I do the language in philosophy, which is why somebody says something, I'm like, can you dumb that down like 2 steps and we'll have the conversation about it. But like I hate people that try to come into conversation and just weaponize philosophy. It's like this is the thing, and it's like, cool. What I'm saying may not be exactly right for a syllogism, but you understand what I'm saying when I say it. So let's go from there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, to be a good sort of like communication interlocutor, or somebody who's speaking on a human level with another person, you have to like work with them and try to understand, okay, is this what you mean? And like now within philosophy, a lot of people will have like specialized language, and so but yeah, it can make it almost like gatekeeping in a sort of way to sort of about all of the no good JBs of the world.
No, and that's why I was told you. I mean, I'm saying this stuff tongue in cheek. I mean, it's just because these are the kind of things you get into in a lot of these conversations. I mean, you say torture. Okay, I'm assuming when you say torture, you mean that you're causing some harm for a not great outcome. Usually when you're torturing something, nothing good comes from it. If you're giving a kid a shot, there's a reason that you're doing it. You know what I mean? Like I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt on that kind of stuff, but it was just, I just wanted to throw a little.
Yeah. All right. I should probably head out. It was fun catching up with you, JB.
Yeah, man. Have a good one.
All right. See ya.
All right, later.
Bye-bye. Nice glove.